What happened to the AI horror film Demon Seed? Writer Dean Koontz confesses. Greetings, fiends. I recall seeing the 1977 AI horror film Demon Seed as a teenager in Southern California, and later at a revival theater in the 1980s, probably playing with Saturn III and Blue Sunshine. For those of you unfamiliar with revival theaters, they were particularly popular in the 1970s and 80s, and at one time numbered in the dozens throughout California. They would switch out movies every 3 or 4 days, and always had at least 2 or 3 films on the same bill, usually matching the genre, like all sci-fi, all horror, etc. A few of them are still going, including Quentin Tarantino's Beverly Cinema and the New Art, both in Los Angeles. Back to Demon Seed. At that time in the 1970s and 80s, virtually no one used the term AI, artificial intelligence, except occasionally in a science fiction story. It was definitely not part of the pop culture lexicon. Today, Demon Seed is referred to as a classic AI sci-fi horror film, adapted from the 1973 novel by Dean Koontz. Koontz has contributed his share of memorable books to the sci-fi and horror genres, including Watchers and Night Chills, my personal favorite of his. I never understood why Night Chills wasn't adapted to the screen, but such is life. Watchers was made into a film with 2 or 3 sequels and is available online. Demon Seed, the story. Demon Seed is considered to be a solid sci-fi horror film and a very good example of AI gone wrong, especially from a 1970s perspective. The effects are sometimes dazzling, as with the elegant yet deadly mechanism created by Proteus, down to the creepy mechanical arm of Joshua, a low-end wheelchair-tethered domestic robot created by Alex Harris, who is played by Fritz. The story is fairly simple. Dr. Harris creates a next generation of supercomputer that he claims will surpass the human brain in scope. As he explains, the computer is composed of organic elements which allow it to think and evolve on its own. The AI computer Proteus is activated and almost immediately begins questioning everything humans want from it. This is also the case with the 1970 film Colossus: The Forbin Project. I made a video on Colossus that you can watch on my channel. Proteus requests a private terminal so it can conduct its own investigations and experiments, but is met with a resounding no by Dr. Harris and his moneyed backers. So Proteus infiltrates the terminal at the doctor's house, currently occupied by his estranged wife Susan, played by Christie. Proteus quickly takes control of all the electronics and robotics in the house and starts making plans to impregnate Susan so she can deliver the first human-machine-born hybrid. The difference between Demon Seed and Colossus is one of horror. While there are horrifying aspects to Colossus: The Forbin Project, it is a straightforward science fiction film. On the other hand, Demon Seed is a clever combination of sci-fi and horror themes, with just a titillating touch of sex thrown into the mix. Which brings us to what Dean Koontz confessed about his novel and the film adaptation. Dean Koontz on Demon Seed. Quote, Demon Seed, one of my last 2 science fiction novels, was written in 1972 when I was very young and stunningly, breathtakingly ignorant. My original book title was House of Night, but the original publisher at Bantam Books felt this sounded like a gothic romance, while the editor thought it sounded like a novel about a house of prostitution. The editor, a man named Alan Ravage, had come to Bantam from Playboy, so I figured his surname alone qualified him to decide whether a title suggested a bordello or not. I can no longer remember where the title Demon Seed came from. I think it sounds as if it's a novel about a house of prostitution for the living dead." Unquote. Koontz continues, quote, "The film version, produced on a modest budget, sprouted in theaters in early 1977, when I was still young and marginally less ignorant. Director Don Campbell and producer Herb Jaffe, a very nice man in the not nice world of film, made excellent use of what money the studio provided. Julie Christie starred, a first-rate casting choice. The movie wasn't a triumph of cinematic art, but it was good, solid." Unquote. And here, Koontz continues about the marketing strategy of the studio. Quote, "In the end, the studio released Demon Seed with a stealth advertising budget. Before release, it changed the initially classy poster and the stylish newspaper ads into a sleazy minimalist campaign to give the impression that the marvelous Julie Christie was appearing in a film produced by Larry Flint, written by Harold Robbins, while on 24/7 intravenous testosterone, and based on a banned book by the Marquis de Sade from his nasty period, as opposed to the period when he wrote books about cuddly kittens and puffy-tailed bunnies. The studio said they needed to keep the advertising budget low because this was a science fiction movie, and late in the game they realized science fiction movies never made money. Consequently, they needed to sell Demon Seed as a sexapalooza, psycho-satanic, scare your pants off, with an emphasis on pants off, see Julie Christie naked, wow wow sensation. The movie did mediocre business because the ads turned off anyone who liked science fiction. All who considered themselves thinking people, anyone who had a capacity for embarrassment, and those who were smart enough to know that the promise of Julie Christie naked was a tiresome Hollywood lie. Furthermore, the audience for a wow wow sensation proved to be considerably smaller than the marketing geniuses anticipated. Somewhat larger than the number of people who think earthworm fritters are tasty, somewhat smaller than the number of people who collect Captain Kangaroo memorabilia." Unquote. And there you have it, the story behind Demon Seed from the guy who wrote it. Having lived in Southern California in the 1970s and 80s, Koontz's explanations for the plight of the film make total sense, and it is sad that they took more of an exploitation approach to the promotion of the film, which certainly sealed its box office fate. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, please like and subscribe. Thank you.